why regurgitation not could, but will hurt you on your check ride. So here's what I mean. What do I mean by regurgitation? If you are studying for your CFI, you probably learned and heard of the 4 levels of learning: the rote, understanding, application, and correlation. But if you're not there, you probably never heard of these things. And those levels of learning, what they refer to is the depth of knowledge that you have about a subject. So the rote, the lowest level of knowledge that you can have about a subject, you're not yet at the understanding level. You don't even understand it. That's what I call, in layman's terms, regurgitation. That's where I could ask you, for instance, hey, what's the maneuvering speed on your airplane? And you could regurgitate a number. But you could have very little understanding as far as what maneuvering speed is, what it isn't, and why that number is what it is for the max gross weight, which is the number published in POHs. And also, does it go up or down with weight? You won't understand any of that, or you don't, but you're able to regurgitate the answer. So if you think of any topic that will come up on your check ride, you could either understand something fully or understand it to a good degree, or you could just be able to regurgitate it. What I want to talk about in the next few minutes is why regurgitation, even though you, from your standpoint, you might look at it and think, I'm answering the question. Like, I was asked a question and I answered the right question. But regurgitation could actually bite you in the tuchus. It could come back and hurt you, specifically or especially when we're talking about check rides. So the first thing I want to start with is this. The DPE, the person who's conducting your check ride with you, I want you to put yourself in their shoes for the next 60 seconds. And I want you to understand and take to heart that this person, the DPE, unlike your instructor, most, if not all of what they do as far as aviation is concerned, or I should say the vast majority, some of them are airline pilots, some of them fly for fun, some of them do instruct on the side. But the majority of what these DPEs do, most likely, is conduct check rides. And by conduct check rides, I mean they're sitting and talking with student pilots or a rated pilot who wants to get a different rating or certificate. This is what they do. These people, some of them for many years, sit and have conversations. We call it the oral exam with pilots, and they talk about different subjects. So just by putting yourself in their shoes, I want you to kind of get an idea of how these people over time, these DPEs, naturally, and you would too if you were in their shoes, they developed a good sense for figuring out whether or not someone, when they answer a question, is regurgitating and whether or not they understand what they're talking about. And here's what happens when you're having a conversation with someone, and the goal is for you to check, because remember, these DPEs, they are acting on behalf of the FAA. Their job, sent by the FAA, is to ensure that you have the good enough knowledge and understanding and risk management and skill and all the stuff they're looking for on your check ride. But during the oral exam, they are there on behalf of the FAA. They're the FAA's eyes to make sure that you have a good understanding and you own a good enough amount of the topics that are being discussed. So if you regurgitate, these people having done check rides for years, guess what they will do when they sense that regurgitation is happening? Naturally, they will do what we call in the check ride world, they'll start doing digging. And they'll start digging to make sure that you're not only regurgitating, which is what they currently think you're doing, because could be you're not regurgitating, right? It could be that they ask you a question and you give the answer. And as you've heard for months or weeks leading up to your check ride, keep your answers short, blah, blah, blah. That's a topic for a whole other video, how to, show up and handle being an applicant on a check ride, which I might actually do now that I think of it. But you probably heard keep your answers short, concise, don't dig yourself into holes. All that's phenomenal. But sometimes the unfortunate and less desired byproduct of that is you could come off unintentionally as though you are regurgitating. And what the DPE, what I would do, what all of us would naturally do when we think someone in front of us who we're looking to test their understanding of a subject, and depending on your check ride level, they might be fishing for, looking to see some application. Maybe if you're getting your CFI, they're looking to see some correlation. But whatever it is, they're most likely looking to see something on a higher level than just rote memorization and the ability to regurgitate. So if they sense that you're regurgitating, guess what they'll do? They'll do some digging. Guess what will happen if they start doing the digging and you don't actually have a good understanding of that topic? It could hurt you. So my best advice for you, while there's 100 pieces of advice, one of my biggest pieces of advice when it comes to check ride prep, don't fall into the trap of thinking that, oh, I answered the question correctly. That's enough. It's not enough. And it's not enough because they might dig. Sorry, because they will dig. They might not. Maybe on your check ride, you will answer the question correctly and they will move on. Could be. But it also could be that you might come off as though you are regurgitating. Could be. We don't know. And if they start doing that digging, that's when your knowledge will be exposed. So as you're preparing and planning for your check ride, yes, knowing the answer is important. Yes, keeping your answers short is important. Yes, only answering what they asked you is important. All that is true. But keep in mind that all those things I just mentioned put off a vibe, a potential vibe, as though you are regurgitating, as though you are just using your memory as to how to answer a question, and maybe the suspicion that you don't fully understand the topic will arise in your DPE. That could happen. You got to take that into account. You have to respect the fact that your DPE is a human and they are there to test your knowledge and understanding, not just your memory as to how to answer certain questions. So with that, understanding that as you prepare for your check ride, do yourself a favor and go as deep as you can on these topics. Now, if you're getting your private, no one is expecting or asking you to go and reach every single topic, reach the correlation level, not even the application level maybe. But in the very least, you should hold yourself to a standard of understanding what it is you are saying when you're asked a question and you're giving your answer. You should understand what lies behind it. So to keep this video shorter than longer, I'll leave you with this. Because you might be asking, well, Yoel, how do I make sure that I understand enough of a topic? So here's the thing. Because as with so many things in flight training, sometimes knowing the degree to which you're expected to do or know something, sometimes that's vague. You don't fully have a nice, clear border line to where you could say, okay, I have enough, right? It makes it a little weird and difficult and tough to gauge. So here's my best advice for you. The goal of yours on your check ride should be that the answer you provide contains in it a lesser amount of knowledge of the subject than you actually have in your head. In other words, if we will think of the answer and the information that you give your DPE, let's think of it in terms of money. The goal is on your check ride to put less money on the table, to spend less dollars than you actually have. Does this make sense? So on the check ride, the goal is say and answer and provide a lesser amount of knowledge and understanding of the topic than you actually have. Meaning, if digging were to occur, you could go there. Now, you might get stuck if the digging went deep enough, which is understandable. You're just a private pilot. Or if you're an instrument pilot, it's a different story. But if you're commercial, you're expected to know a little more. If you're a CFI, you're expected to know. Sure, we all will get stuck at some point. If someone did digging with me, there's a limit to my knowledge in this very moment. It's human. But think of it this way. The answer on your check ride or on your mock check rides, whatever it is you're doing to prepare for your check rides, If you ever come across a question and the answer you provided to that question makes up 100% of what you know about that topic, you should do more studying about that topic. Does that make sense? The answer you give should be a percentage of everything you know about that topic. And more often than not, the DPE will hear that answer and go, that's great, let's move on. But you want to make sure that in the event that they suspect that you're regurgitating, or if they just want to go deeper for whatever reason, maybe the DPE is excited about a certain topic that another DPE is less excited about. That could be. And they like to kind of test the student's knowledge. You want to make sure that you set yourself up for the best chance of success. And part of doing that is making sure that the answer I give does not make up all the knowledge I have about the topic. There's still more left in my arsenal. So in the event that we go there and we uncover all that, I still have more to give and more to provide. So as you're preparing for your check ride, again, this is just an interesting, different twist on things. I'm providing you with a different mindset to think about these things with. Make sure that when you're going through your mock check rides or whatever it is that your school does, or if you're sitting with anyone and you're answering questions, ask yourself, pay close attention. Is this answer I just provided to this question, is the information I provided all I know about this topic? And if the answer is yes, do some more studying. Go and learn that topic a little more in depth to where you could now have what to show in the event that you're asked to on your check ride. I hope this is helpful. I hope this makes sense. I hope this resonates with some of you guys. This is just a few things that I've seen over the years that people don't think about, and they think that just providing the right answer is enough. Oftentimes, in fact, most of the times it will be, but it could not be, and you don't want to fail your check ride because some digging happened and you didn't have anything else to show. So hope this helps. Otherwise, until next time, as always, if you guys want me to discuss a topic that's on your mind or something that you're dealing with in flight training, send me an email. The email is in the description of this video. The only thing I ask is in the subject line of the email, write the words "Ask Yoel." So when I see the email, I'm able to separate that and know that that is an email about something you want me to discuss in these videos. Otherwise, until next time, fly safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.